I can't sleep. I've got two things going on, so let me put the first one out there. September 11th, 2012. That was the day my 14-year-old daughter was diagnosed with cancer, stage 4 ovarian cancer. She had no symptoms until about 2 weeks before that. So that's weighing on my mind. But that's not the only thing. September 10th this year, just yesterday, because it's now 3-something in the morning. I've laid down now 3 or 4 times and I just cannot sleep. It's because I'm so angry. The public assassination of an innocent person who was a warrior for the youth of this country, giving them the freedom to speak their constitutional right. And then he would debate them. He wasn't trying to shove his information down their throat. He was trying to get them to inform themselves. Charlie Kirk. He was publicly assassinated today. His wife and kids were there. They saw that. His mother was there. They saw that. She saw that. They will be traumatized for the rest of their lives. Public assassinations are not about killing somebody. They're about power. They're about sending messages. What happened today was history repeating itself. See, back in the 60s, there was a God-fearing man. His resolution was God and family and desegregation. We just want to be a part of the world. So many white people and government on the Democrat side didn't want black people to have their constitutional rights. They were due that. And Martin Luther King stood up and fought the good fight. It was in a different way than what Charlie Kirk did. But he did it. Martin Luther King was a Republican. And he was publicly assassinated too. And what happened with MLK was designed to shut up the Republican side. That's exactly what was designed. This was designed for today. I will tell you that. I know it in my heart. And let me tell you something. That's why you're getting this video. I never wanted my channel to be political. I have no problem when someone wants to make something political. I have no problem bringing out the facts. I did that once with somebody who was a follower on my channel who started spewing a bunch of lies, and I brought the receipts and I made a 30-minute video explaining that they're just stupid. The reason that we didn't get all stupid and radicalize and become violent when President Trump was shot. Number one, we don't want to be like the other side. We don't want to be that. I also know that the Republican politicians are weak. We get that. But out here in the real world, the Republicans are not so weak. And right now, we're all hurt. And we are angry. An innocent man was assassinated. And if you think this time, like last time, Republicans will bow down, I think you have another thing coming. Because you've got people on every social media platform putting videos out right now, letting you know you're on notice. Here's the thing I'm struggling with, and I'm just going to openly talk about it, and I really, to be honest with you, I don't care whose feelings I hurt. Because nobody gave a crap about any of our feelings. And, eye for an eye. For the last almost 10 years, we've been dealing with nothing but political violence from one side. It's always one-sided. Always. School shootings are coming from one side. Political violence is coming from one side. Rioting in the streets is coming from one side. We don't even... There's no such thing as civil defiance. That's all gone. That's all been gone. It's been gone since 2017. There is no such thing as civil defiance anymore. Used to have it. We used to have it until one side decided that no, we need to declare war on this side. They've allowed the media and those on social media and all this other drama to just brainwash them into believing things that I'm telling you, I can't even tell you how many people I have argued with because I hear what they say or I see what they say and I'm going, the hell are you talking about? Do you have any idea what you just said? That's just a simple nonsense. And I can sympathize with the ones who are ignorant. I can sympathize with that. The problem is when you stay ignorant or when you're just blatantly stupid. So here's my struggle. I am a constitutional conservative. I have always been the one who will give you, regardless of which side you're on, the opportunity to speak. And that was who Charlie Kirk was. And I felt like I was alone in that. Until Charlie Kirk came along. When Charlie Kirk came along, he was the embodiment of First Amendment rights. He allowed those college kids to speak. He didn't shove his belief down their throat. He gave them information and asked them to research it. He changed the lives of many, many of those people. And they're just young people. Their colleges are just wreaking havoc in this country. I personally, I've said it before, y'all don't want me to be president because there wouldn't be a university in this country left. If I see something that is a threat to our national security, which is exactly what colleges have become, I will declare an emergency and shut them down. They don't have a right to do that. And we've allowed them to do that. That's why I didn't push for my kids to go to college. I knew this long before. I knew this long before that charismatic divider, master divider, was elected. I got a psychology degree right in the middle of his 2 terms. I knew right away the manipulation and deception going on. All you had to do was listen to the speeches. Charlie Kirk was one of the best. Why? Because everybody wanted to give up on the youth in this country, on the college students in this country. They wanted to just give up on them. And Charlie said, no, we can't give up on them. We have to try. He started out with like 4 or 5 people on his first campus visit, and it blew up to about 20 people during the process of that first one. Now, he has 10 to 20,000 every time he went to a campus. Because people loved these events. They loved being able to connect with those people, with those young ones, when they finally started, and they just wanted to be heard. And Charlie Kirk gave them a voice. He gave them a microphone. You know that's all they wanted, because they would ask the questions. They would shout him down as soon as the question was asked. They wouldn't allow him to answer. They argued with him. They talked over him. They'd shout him down, all of that. But he still stayed there, steadfast as God commanded him to. That's why history repeated itself. Charlie Kirk was a God-fearing man. He loved God. He wanted God to use him for good, for whatever he would, just to do some good. He educated himself. He did not go to college. He started this at 18, 19 years old. And finally, I felt like there was somebody out there I could relate to, because I believed in the Constitution as well. I felt like, and I have always, up until now, believed everybody has a right to believe and say what they feel. But the other side of that is, I do too. I get the right to say what I feel as well. But that's not what one side believes. They believe that Republicans must be silenced. And the only way they think that we're going to become silenced is if they publicly assassinate Charlie Kirk. This is history repeating itself because of the stupidity. And you know, Trump and Charlie Kirk were they were like tight. They were tight. Not because Charlie was an evil person, and certainly not because Trump was an evil person. You know, everybody who's got a problem with Trump, it's because they've believed the media and the social media and all of that. I can't even tell you how many times somebody has told me, I don't know why you keep blaming the media. The media hasn't done anything. Maybe we just finally understood. No. I knew back in 2008 CNN was being funded by the government. We learned that this year. But I knew that back then. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I knew that. And I also knew that there was something going on with the media. And I'm talking about your normal legacy media. The main three stations: CBS, ABC, NBC. Because every single time something important happened, every single station had the same damn script. Why in the hell did those stations hire editors and people to write what needed to be on the teleprompters why would they hire those people when it was all written out for them by somebody? There was clearly one organization that was causing problems. Otherwise, every single one of those stations wouldn't have said the same thing. There's videos out there where they all say the same thing. It's right on script. They say specific words. It is unbelievable. But why would people fall for that? And that was always the burning question for me. Well, they fall for that because weak-minded people do that. They don't research. They don't do their homework. I'm the type of person that will turn on a committee hearing and listen to it the entire way through. I will listen to the testimony. I will listen to the arguing and the fighting. We saw that just this past week with RFK. Nobody wanted to hear what he was doing. Nobody. It was just an attack, a verbal attack, twisting things. It was quite obvious who the enemy of the people are. I always thought that America was going to be attacked. I never really gave it much attention. That our founding fathers said that we would fall from within. I think we have. I really think we have. The goal of that, what happened September 10th, and the assassination of Charlie Kirk, that had two messages in my book. Number one, and this is a pretty big message that really everybody, we're not stupid. We saw this back in the 60s. I wasn't even alive at the time, but I was able to educate myself on that. But MLK was like one of my heroes. And I wanted to know what happened. I'm still waiting for more documents to be released. The message is the side that person represented is to be silenced. If they see a public murder like that, it will scare them straight. Scare them silent. They won't do this. You know what I mean? So guess what? Out here in the real world, we're not the weak Republican politicians. They have no balls. We know that. They can live up there in Washington, D.C. without their balls. We don't care. But out here in the real world, you've got a generation, actually two, Gen X and millennials, that know what you're trying to do, And that's why you're seeing a lot of channels on all social media platforms speaking up. You don't get to silence us. You don't get to silence us. In fact, here's where my struggle is. Because I have always been such a big advocate for the Constitution, and because I always felt everybody had a right to say something, let me tell you what this has given me the thought of, and it's deep in my heart right now. I don't want to hear the other side anymore. For the last almost 10 years, the Democrat side has proven they are the party of violence, any kind of violence that they can use. And I don't know that I want anybody who is a part of that in my life. And if you are not a part of the violence and you're one of these virtue signaling people who's putting the post up, and I've seen a million of them, from Democrats who voted against Trump. Let me tell you what you did. You didn't vote against Trump. Remember, somebody took a shot at Trump too. But we were okay with that. We knew that he was in the fight with Democrats. We knew the Democrats hated him. We knew that. We could move on from that. Yeah, we can't move on from this. There's no. If you voted against Trump, you voted for the violence. You voted in support of the violence that you knew was there. The violence is one-sided. Completely one-sided. You voted for it. You support it. The blood of Charlie Kirk is on your hands just as much as it is on the killer's hands. And let me just say, back to what I was saying, I've seen all the posts. I don't agree with Charlie Kirk, but this is not what America is about. Save that bullshit for Oprah. You voted for it. You voted to condone it. The numbers speak volumes. You own it. Own it. We're not interested in hearing it anymore. And I don't know that I am interested in having people like that in my life anymore. I don't think that you should have a right to free speech. I really don't. Your speech has been nothing but rooted in hatred. Hatred that literally has no foundation. Except for what the damn media told you. Or what some algorithm fed you. You just blindly follow it. But you literally accuse us of the very things that you do. At what point did you really think we would not snap? You just might. With what happened to Charlie Kirk today. This might have been the straw that broke the camel's back. There's millions of us hurt and we're angry. You voted for this. You support this. And I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. I don't want people like that in my life, and I do not want you on my social media. And for the record, this is my channel. Don't bother commenting your Oprah, cry me, woe is me bullshit. I'm not interested anymore. And I'm not interested in hearing you say, I don't condone this. Yes, you did. When you voted for it. You wholeheartedly condone it. We don't radicalize as Republicans because we don't want to be like you. We don't. But you can only poke a bear so long before that bear wakes up and says, now it's on. You didn't silence me. In fact, all you did was make me louder.